Maritime history is full of romantic tales of adventures at sea. Hi, I'm Mike Leck, and welcome to Adventures in Scale Modeling. We're at the seaport here in Charleston, South Carolina, where many famous ships have entered. One ship in particular usually goes unnoticed around here, yet it plays a very key role in harbor operations. This vital support vehicle is known as the tug, or the tugboat. This vessel will become part of our museum exhibit as we learn more about the modeling techniques and tips as we build along the way. But before we start constructing this boat, let's see if we can learn a little bit more about this obscure maritime vessel. The more we know about our ships that we build and other models, the more pleasure there will be in building them. Whether in a public exhibit or in our homes, models provide an appealing sight. We get to learn not only how a particular vehicle functions, but we learn about its design, its place in history, and those little-known facts that add life and excitement to our three-dimensional scale replicas. Alan Jones is downstairs in the museum workshop working on our diesel tug for our museum exhibit here. Let's go down and join him and see if we can pick up a few more model building skills. Hey, I'm down in the workshop here at the museum. I got my apron on, ready to do some model building. Alan's over here at the sink. Alan, what are you doing over here?
Well, I'm washing my hands again, Mike.
Oh, my goodness, Alan, you wash your hands more than a doctor does.
Sure do, but we want to be awfully sure that we don't get fingerprints, skin oil, or other kinds of dirt on the surfaces that we're going to paint and glue.
A very important tip that we want to keep in mind when we're model building, because we want to keep our hands clean so we have a great-looking final product. Alan, we're going to be building a tugboat today, and I understand you have a very special interest in tugboats and this type of construction.
Yes, I sure do. I work on Saturdays as a volunteer at the Manitowoc, Wisconsin Maritime Museum. In fact, this project is so interesting to me that we're doing here for your museum that I'm going to try and do one for theirs up there also.
So you build museum models for us as well as them?
Right.
Okay, well listen, you have a very interesting project going on here, but I notice a lot of small parts laying all over the place.
Right. In fact, this kit has enough small parts that they're kind of difficult to keep track of, and I'm using two different systems.
What do we do?
To do the job. One of the systems I'm using is to keep some of the parts that don't require any special work right on the trees, and then that way they can be painted without handling, they can be painted without painting my hands, and we don't have to take a chance of losing them.
I see, you just keep them right on there so they don't walk away from you.
They don't go anywhere but stand right in the piece.
I noticed some parts here on what looks like a piece of tape. What do you have here?
Right. These parts need special treatment before they get painted, and so they have to be taken off the trees in advance. And what I've done is take some masking tape and peel it off and curl the edge under so that I can tape it down to the board with the sticky side up. Then I place the part right on the tape, like so.
And it stays there?
And it stays right there, and you'll see that when I pick up my card here that has the parts on, they don't fall off.
Oh, I see. They just stay right in place.
They stay right there.
Well, and I'm anxious to get gluing here, and I notice we have some glue items here on the table. What can you tell me about these two items?
Okay, we have two different types of glue. We have a pen glue, which has a fibrous brush in it, that when you press the brush down into the tube, glue comes out and can be used very nicely on gluing bare edges.
Oh, I see. And we have one here looks like nothing more than a thing of water.
Right. It is about water consistency. The bottle, as you can see, has a brush inside. And this particular kind of glue is very nice for gluing seams that are at right angles, where you can put the two pieces together and then go down inside and glue with your brush. In fact, we have a couple of pieces here we can try that on.
All right, what do we have, two pieces here?
Okay, this is the cabin area, the pilot house area. We're looking in at the bottom of it. The windows are up here in this area. Right, this is the pilot house windows. The pilot house doors are in the back there. And this is the roof. This is the inside of the roof, in fact.
Okay, and there's the outside of the roof.
You
now, what
put those two pieces together, watching that these edges go outside of the guide marks that are here.
Okay.
We can put some glue on them.
All right, let me
While
put
you're
that
doing
here.
that, I will open up the glue bottle.
Okay. Well, I have it in position.
Is it pressed down and flat all the way around? And
it sure is.
There, snapped in. Very good. Now you just take your glue brush and you place the brush into the seam You don't have to brush it, just reach in there and touch. And as you touch that seam, you will notice that the glue will flow right down the edge. And when that glue softens the plastic and then finally evaporates, those two pieces of plastic will be one part.
Oh, I see that. It really is working. You know, while we're doing this, though, I also have a definite fume to this particular glue. Is there any safety precautions whenever we're gluing with this type of glue?
The liquids have a high evaporation rate. They're called volatile. And it's important to have good ventilation, which we have here in your shop. It's also important to remember to put the cover back on the glue each time that you use it, because the evaporation rate is fast enough that you can lose a half a bottle of glue overnight.
Oh, that is really important to remember, to keep the glue closed. Now, how do we use the glue pen?
Okay, we have a lower cabin area here that has two flat edges that need to be glued together. Again, it's the pin and hole type assembly. And what we want to do is put glue on both of those surfaces using the pen and then put them together.
Okay, why don't I hold it and you lay some glue in there?
Okay, we'll try and lay some glue on here.
All right.
You can see it gets shiny, which means that the glue is on.
I see, yes. Now what I do, just press them together then?
Just press them together.
All right. So for those of us that really don't understand, the property between the two glues is basically the difference in how the glue actually works with the plastic.
Right. Some of the liquid cements are faster, some of them are slower, some of them are a little thicker in nature, can be applied with a brush. Some of the thinner ones you need a different kind of tool to use.
Oh, well, Alan, I'm going to set this aside to dry.
Right.
I'm interested in the tools that you have over here. There's some tools here I haven't seen before.
One of the tools that I've been using a lot on this model because of the small parts is the tweezer. I use this pair here for picking up small parts that my fingers don't work on so well anymore.
Well, that is a very useful tool. Do the parts ever come out of the tweezers?
Yes, they sure do. I've got parts that squirted out of this pair of tweezers 4 or 5 years ago and have been lost in my carpet ever since.
Valley of the Lost Parts, huh?
Right.
Well, Alan, what other useful tool do we have here today that we're going to be using on the tugboat?
Okay, I plan to use the hobby knife to scrape mold marks off some of the parts that we still have on trees.
I'd like to see that.
Let's demonstrate that. There's a piece right there that we can use.
Okay.
Okay, to start off with, we'll use our trusty old fingernail clipper to remove the rail section from the tree.
Well, this fingernail clipper has really become a very useful tool.
Right. I have one other little piece that I can take off here.
Okay. Very good.
Okay.
All right, now what are you going to do?
The hobby knife is used to take these mold marks off that run right along the edge of the top of the railing and along the bottom of that same edge.
That is
scrape away from you.
That's a very, very sharp tool, isn't it?
Right. It's so sharp, in fact, that it will stick very well in the table, and it may, in addition, if you're not careful, stick right in your finger.
Oh, my, that's a very important tip we want to learn here from Alan today. The modeling knife is very sharp. It's like a razor blade at the end of the shank of the modeling knife. We want to be very careful, practice a lot of patience when using the knife.
Well, this one here is just about finished and ready to go.
Well, good. Let's get back over and start gluing some more. I really love building this model. What are we going to do next?
All right, we want to try and attach the stack roof to the top of the cabin structure.
All right, this is the stack roof. You grab that.
Okay, I got that.
And I'm going to take the pilot house.
Right.
All right, what do I do?
Okay, we first want to be sure that the stack is forward and that the skylight is aft.
So what do I do?
We put the pieces up into the location, and then it has to snap down in. So he's pressing real hard now to get it down in. I got to help out here a little bit.
Okay.
And then when we apply our glue, we'll apply the glue to the inside so that the glue does not mar the paint.
Oh, on the underside of the model. I understand.
Right. And again, we'll use the same technique as we used before, where you have the brush full of glue and you simply touch the seam area, and you should be able to see the glue flow down along that seam.
Oh, so the property of this glue allows the two pieces to be bonded together.
Capillary action will, as long as the parts are close together, capillary action will carry the glue down, and you don't have to put glue in all the areas, just where you touch.
Well, this is really going along very fine here, Alan.
Okay.
Hey, listen, Alan, while you continue to build the model here, you're doing a fine job of it, why don't we go down to Charleston, South Carolina Seaport and go aboard a diesel tug? Since we've been building our tugboat, One thing I've been wondering is, how does something this small push around something so large? Well, what better place to find out than on the active tugboat, South Carolina? Let's go up to the pilot house and ask these questions to Captain Ben Whaley of Marine Contracting and Towing. Captain Whaley, welcome to Adventures in Scale Modeling.
Well, thank you.
Captain Whaley, we've all seen tugboats, but we're not sure about the role they play. How important are they?
The purpose of a tug is to assist a ship to the dock or away from the dock, whichever he's called upon to do. And also we handle barges and fuel barges and various types of barges around in the harbor.
Well, when you're called out to, let's say, assist a container ship or an oil ship, how long does that usually take and what's entailed there?
Well, it really, the length of time that it takes depends on where the ship is going. Once we get alongside of a ship, a tanker takes a little longer because there's so many lines that have to go out to hold it to the dock. But a normal container ship takes anywhere from 35 minutes to 45 minutes, depending on whether we turn it around or whether we dock it head up. A tanker would take longer.
That's interesting, but have you ever had any tense moments here on the tug?
Oh yes, the first one that comes to my mind is I had just got a wheelhouse job and we were escorting a sea-train ship down from the port terminal, and we were right underneath the Cooper Road Bridge coming down to it, and the ship lost all power, and they were calling for the tugs to push on it, do anything to keep it away from the bridge because it would have taken the bridge out.
The ship was going directly towards the bridge?
It was in a turn, but it would have come down on the bridge.
And you were in charge of the tug?
I was in charge of the tug, and I didn't know how long to stay pushing on the ship, whether the bridge would come down on me, come down on the ship, and fortunately we got it stopped before it got to the bridge, but I was scared.
Well, that is really some tense moments. You are an experienced pilot house operator now. 10 years on the pilot house?
That's correct, 10 years.
How many years actually on the river, or on the harbor here?
15.
Oh, that is really good. Captain Whaley, we're stressing cleaning and repairing of our models because sometimes pieces fall off or they need repainted or whatever. What's the importance of the tug? How important is that?
We are constantly doing maintenance on the boats and cleaning up all the time because basically we live on the tug, and they all work boat and they take a lot of abuse, and around the salt water, if you don't put some type of coating on the metal, it's going to rust. So anytime we knock some paint off, we wire brush it real well, and we put red lead on it and then paint back over it.
Being a tugboat captain, do you get a sense of responsibility here?
Well, I have to look up for 3 people on this vessel besides me, and some of the work that we do can be dangerous if the man that's on the ship telling me what to do doesn't really know what he's doing and I don't know what I'm doing. You can get a tug